Heading to the Pacific Northwest, Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes gets a new job. What he told those in Seattle in the midst of a major investigation right here in Madison. And local students make their thoughts known, demanding action on gun violence after Monday's shooting at Abundant Life Christian School. Congress voting right now on whether or not to keep the government funded through at least March. The early votes cast look like the bill will pass, and we will have an update. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. First, we want to begin with a look at your first warn forecast as we head for the weekend. Meteorologist Blaze Keller joining us on the weather patio.
And we've got that fresh snow, really our first big snow of this winter, especially for the month of December. Up until really yesterday, the Madison area hadn't even accumulated a half an inch of snow for the entire month. And obviously now we've accumulated much more than that. I believe our total is just shy of 6 inches. And for some folks, they picked up that and some. Thursday into Friday, we're looking at Blue Mounds, Fall River, Baraboo, Brooks in Adams County there, picking up over a half a foot of snow. And further towards the south and west, as expected, that's where we didn't see as much snow. Broadhead picking up 2.5 inches, Gratiot picking up just over an inch of snow. And if we look at snow vision, this is an estimation, so the totals are slightly off, but I want to highlight that purple area off towards Watertown in Dodge County. As the winds were coming off of Lake Michigan, they were pulling that moisture out of the lake and depositing it as snow, as expected. Those winds coming off and then turning, interacting with the cooler air. So that's where we did see the highest amounts, but I don't think anybody picked up quite over a foot. Now, with the fresh snow on the ground, the clear skies that we are expecting tonight, and the northerly winds, it's going to be a cold night. And even into Saturday, it's going to be cold because fresh snow has a near 80 to 90% reflectivity. So all that sunshine and heat goes back into the atmosphere. And the less fresh the snow, the less reflectivity. So that's the reason why it's going to be cold, not only this evening, but into your Saturday. We do start to warm up Sunday thanks to some southerly winds. We're going to talk about the warm up that we're expecting as well as the Christmas Eve and Christmas forecast here in just a few minutes.
All right, Blaze, thank you. A 12-year-old Belleville student is in police custody after police say the student made plans to harm school staff. Police were alerted to the threat by the Belleville School District on Monday afternoon around 3:30. Police arrested the student, took them to the Dane County Juvenile Court, now facing charges of disorderly conduct and making terroristic threats. School staff and police determined there was no further threat to the school. The 12-year-old is not allowed on school property until the school determines the next steps. Hundreds of Madison School District students staged a walkout this afternoon to protest gun violence in the wake of the Abundant Life Christian School shooting. The latest update from UW Health on the victim states that 2 patients remain in critical condition but are stable. In a message posted on social media, students met on Ash Street at 11 this morning, marched roughly 2.5 miles to the Capitol. Our Merrill Hubbard was there at the march and spoke with students about why they were there.
This is important and that we need to do something because it's scary knowing that it could happen to any of us at any point and knowing that I could not make it out of my school one day.
I think this is an issue that we've heard about year after year, but it being so close to home, it really hits especially hard. And I think that in my community, we want to get out and we want to fight for our right to a safe education. And I think seeing everybody here today, I know that change will come.
When students got to the Capitol, several people spoke to the crowd. The group lit candles, followed by 3 minutes of silence to represent the amount of time passed before the shooting ended. Madison's police chief is taking a new job. The mayor of Seattle, Washington, announcing earlier today that Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes is his pick to lead the Seattle Police Department. Our Braden Ross joins us now with what Chief Barnes is saying to his new city today. Braden.
Of course, this appointment coming at an extremely difficult time for us here in Madison following this week's shooting at Abundant Life Christian School. Barnes addressed that in a video message to the city of Seattle posted earlier today.
Unfortunately, I cannot be there to greet you in person due to the tragic circumstances we're currently facing here in Madison. In light of the recent school shooting that claimed the lives of 3 and left many others injured, my priority must be here with our community and the dedicated men and women of the Madison Police Department.
Now, Barnes has led the Madison Police Department since 2021. Some of his biggest accomplishments in that time include getting a body cam pilot program up and running and helping to create the mental health response cares teams. While in Madison, Barnes was also a finalist for 2 other out-of-state police jobs in Chicago and San Jose, California. Barnes' appointment in Seattle will still need to be confirmed by the Seattle City Council. As far as who will take over his position here in Madison, the city's Police and Fire Commission will choose his successor. It will also choose who will step in as interim chief during the search process. Now, I want to bring in our Will Keneally, who just sat down exclusively with the Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway in her first interview since Barnes' departure was officially announced. Well, what did she have to say about all this?
Braden, that's right. It's been a big week for both Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes and Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway. First dealing with that shooting on Monday, now the turnover at the top of the Madison Police Force. We spoke with Rhodes Conway as part of an expansive one-on-one interview that we did about Monday's shooting.
He will obviously transition everything that needs to be transitioned during the month of January. We have an incredibly professional team at the Madison Police Department, and I have a lot of faith in their ability to provide continuity to the investigation and do whatever needs to be done.
Now, Rhodes Conway tells us that Barnes has delayed his leaving the Madison Police Department until February to help with that transition. You can see more from our interview with Rhodes Conway this Sunday at 10:30 on For the Record. You can also catch the full interview online right now at channel3000.com under the For the Record tab.
Will, Braden, thanks to both of you. As Madison works to move forward after the shooting Monday, we also sat down with Mark Barden. His son Daniel was killed in the Sandy Hook shooting 12 years ago. He co-founded the nonprofit Sandy Hook Promise. The organization was created to help find meaningful ways to prevent similar tragedies. He offered this advice to Madisonians.
Because no family should ever have to endure this lifetime of pain due to something that is preventable, which was one of the key takeaways that we learned in that journey, was that this is not inevitable. And it's hard for me to say that, especially in light of a community that is just coming to terms with this devastation.
He mentioned his organization has resources to help know the signs of possible gun violence at sandyhookpromise.org. The city also has resources available at cityofmadison.com/resources. The community is continuing to come together to support anyone impacted by the deadly shooting at Abundant Life. Our Tanisha Shaw talked to the founder of a local nonprofit that is hosting a community grief session tonight.
Our whole community is grieving. We're having a space of unwellness, and we're putting this project together so we can help push our entire community into wellness by being able to grieve as a whole.
Madison nonprofit Seeing is Believing is hosting a community grief session Friday for anyone impacted by the deadly shooting at Abundant Life Christian School on Monday.
What I hope to do is, one, give the young people the words that they need to be able to express how they feel about this event and any other pain and trauma that they might be experiencing, as well as helping the parents to be active listeners and also to be able to ask the right questions to make sure that their children are okay.
The free event will be discussion-led with activities. Patricia Clifton founded the organization in 2017. She decided to host the event after hearing from families.
What we want people to know is that at some point in time, every youth will have a moment of unwellness. Every person will have a moment of unwellness. And what our program does is we create triage to push them out of that state of unwellness into wellness. So I had youth that were kind of being withdrawn in their families, and their parents had called me and said, hey, my kid's being really withdrawn. I said, we all process grief and anxiety and nervousness and stress in different ways.
During hard times like we are in right now, Clifton wants everyone to know how to be there for themselves and each other.
I feel like we're ticking time bombs. The longer we hold everything in, and we don't have that valve to just release a little bit of pressure at a time, that's when we blow up at our family members. That's when we blow up at our bosses and our friends. And what they'll get here is they'll actually get a valve to put on that pressure so they can turn it and release it.
Reporting in Madison, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you. The event underway right now until 6 p.m. at My Art Studio on Mifflin Street. Seeing is Believing said they also have a virtual option. Breaking news at this hour, Congress has just approved a bill to keep the government funded through March. It comes after the House tried passing a bill backed by President-elect Trump yesterday. It failed. That bill now heads to the Senate. If it's approved there, it will go to the president's desk and needs to be signed before midnight to avert a government shutdown. Well, the snow has ended and most roads are plowed, but how does the city of Madison handle the monumental task of plowing and salting nearly 800 miles of roads? Brian Johnson with the City of Madison Streets Division says that trucks started running about 7 yesterday morning, putting down 3 rounds of salt on their salt routes. And then at around midnight, plowing started. With all lanes factored in, the Streets Division cleared nearly 1,800 miles of roads, the equivalent of driving to the Mojave Desert in California and back.
Still have some crews out there picking away at this because there's likely probably some cul-de-sacs there that we haven't gotten to yet, because cul-de-sacs require we can't really plow them with a regular plow truck. You have to go in there with a loader because they have a bend in the middle. Those take a little bit longer to deal with. There's hundreds of cul-de-sacs in Madison. Takes a little while to get to all of these things.
Johnson added that during snowstorms, drivers should be patient, slow, and safe. Since last January's snowstorm, the city has invested in treated salt that works better in extreme temperatures, but it is more difficult to obtain. Meteorologist Blaze Keller rejoins us next. His complete weekend First Warn forecast and going into the trenches to fight cancer, how the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation is gaining ground and getting better outcomes for those fighting the disease. On Wall Street today, strong gains to close the week. The Dow surging more than 498 points. The Nasdaq jumps 200. S&P 500 closes up almost 64. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Welcome back. In Jefferson County, state regulators are closely monitoring the cleanup of a major oil spill involving roughly 70,000 gallons from Enbridge's Line 6 pipeline. Now, that spill was reported at a pump station in Oakland and is the largest in Wisconsin in more than a decade. The leak was due to a degraded gasket at the pump station. Regulators report that nearby wetlands and private wells have not been contaminated. Enbridge has already paid nearly $1.1 million to to clean up about 60% of this spill. The Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation is awarding over $300,000 in grants to 8 healthcare organizations as part of its 2024 grant cycle. Recipients include the Medical College of Wisconsin and Aurora Healthcare. These funds aim to advance cancer research, treatment, and survivorship nationwide. Dr. Nikki Lydell with the Medical College of Wisconsin says that this is a forward-looking time with cancer treatment and that the Lombardi Foundation's donation helps them achieve better outcomes.
Pancreas cancer is a very tough disease with still kind of poor outcomes. But right now, the 5-year survival rate is doubled what it was 10 years ago. And I think that tells us that we are making big strides and we're able to identify people that may benefit from certain therapies over others.
And if you'd like to donate to the Vince Lombardi Foundation, you can visit lombardifoundation.org. Between now and the new year, the group is promoting a $50,000 donation match from an anonymous donor. The largest party supply store in the country is shutting down all of its stores after nearly 40 years in business. Today, Party City's corporate employees were told this will be their last day of work. The company's CEO said Party City will be winding down operations immediately, and he pointed to the company's financial challenges as the reason for its collapse. Competition from the big box retailers like Amazon, Walmart, and others have also led to the collapse of smaller chains. The Biden administration canceling more student loans. Today, the White House announcing an additional $4.2 billion in debt relief for nearly 55,000 public service workers. It's a part of the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, which is designed to erase loans after 10 years of service. Altogether now, the administration has erased nearly $180 billion in student loan debt for about 5 million borrowers. Time now for a complete look at your First Warn forecast as we head for the weekend. Meteorologist Blaze Keller rejoins us.
That's right. We've got a pretty big holiday coming up, so let's take a look at what we can expect after the snow has come and gone. We will hopefully keep it around for folks who want that white Christmas, but we are anticipating a warm-up really beginning here after Saturday, but the real warm-up arrives after Christmas. Both days, though, Christmas Eve and Christmas, looking to be in those low to mid-30s. Some rain chances, along with maybe a light mix, returning to southern Wisconsin into the evening hours. Christmas going into that following Thursday as winds turn out of the south, and those southerly winds are going to really ramp up our temperatures, not only during the daytime hours, but overnight as we look to those final days of December into the start of the new year. Sitting at about the mid-30s, we're going to be about 10 degrees warmer or so than the average high temperature for Christmas, which is about 28 degrees. The coldest high back in 1983, some folks may remember that. We didn't even get above zero with a high temperature of -5 degrees. The snowiest Christmas happening back in 1950 when we picked up 3.5 inches of snow on Christmas. And statistically speaking, a lot of Wisconsin typically averages a white Christmas. So the snow that probably fell today and then Thursday is really going to be our only real snow up until Christmas. Maybe a light mix on Monday, but not any real significant snowfall. And then beyond Christmas, we actually watch as rain chances increase. Near daily rain chances Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You're seeing that here on Future Track as we've essentially opened up the Gulf. And what we mean by that is the jet stream is further to our north. So a lot of that moisture, a lot of that warmth that would otherwise be to our south is now moved northwards. And that means our temperatures start to climb. Thursday afternoon, we're back into those mid to upper 30s, if not the low 40s, as far north as maybe the Illinois-Wisconsin border. And from there, the 40s continue to lift northwards. We could even squeeze out a few upper 40s, maybe a low 50 here and there. It's going to be hard, especially if that snow does stick around. But because the Gulf of Mexico is open, we're climbing into those temperatures that we would not normally be at for this time of year, and especially our overnight lows, as you'll see in our 10-day forecast, well above average. We should be right around 18 degrees, if not below that around Christmas time, but we're going to be into the 30s for overnight lows after Christmas into the start of the new year. From the 26th of December through the 30th, we got a bullseye of about 100% chance of sitting underneath warmer than average temperatures. That bullseye shrinks just a little bit, but is still covering Wisconsin as we go from the 28th into January 3rd. And keep in mind, January of 2024 through November of 2024 was Wisconsin's warmest 11th month period on record. So as temperatures continue to trend warmer than average, we're going to continue to probably sit within one of our warmest years, not only for Wisconsin, but certainly for our coverage area. As we look towards these final days, we'll get the data sometime in early January. The National Centers for Environmental Information really computerizes and analyzes that data as we go into those first few days of that following month. So stay with us. We'll keep you updated if you're interested, but it does look like we're climbing out of the 20s by Sunday, kind of flirting with the 40s by Thursday of next week with that rain snow chance mix, not only Monday as a quick little low moves through the area, but again to end your Christmas going into your Thursday. Now, anybody traveling Tuesday and Wednesday, we should be fine. No big systems moving through the area, but our overnight low staying above freezing starting Christmas night into that following work week. So if you are an avid ice fisher, just keep in mind that with overnight lows staying above freezing, that ice is going to quickly thin. So I want to make sure that you're staying safe. As we look to that following weekend after Christmas, we're keeping rain chances at about 40% Friday, and then that Saturday with tapering rain chances that Sunday, and then that following Monday.
All right, Blaze, thank you. Next at 5, workers at Starbucks and Amazon hitting the picket lines in Chicago, Los Angeles, also Seattle. I'll tell you what impact it could have on the holiday just ahead.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Welcome back. Starbucks baristas in 3 U.S. cities have walked off the job as Amazon workers in several states also hit the picket lines for a second straight day. Those strikes impacting 2 of the nation's largest companies come just ahead of the holidays. Danya Backus reports from Los Angeles.
With the holiday rush officially on, some workers and drivers are holding the line at several Amazon distribution centers across the country.
We're out here to strike for higher pay, safe jobs, and job security.
Ruby Wiggins has been working for a third-party vendor, delivering packages for Amazon in Southern California.
We wear their uniforms, we enforce their policies, we drive their branded vans.
Amazon workers, led by the International Brotherhood of Teamsters Union, are pressuring the online giant for a labor agreement.
Corporate greed has got to stop. This is our message to them that we're not going to take it no more.
So far, Amazon appears to be ignoring those demands, arguing the striking workers are not direct employees of the company. Starbucks baristas at some unionized stores here in Los Angeles, as well as Chicago and Seattle, are also picketing, citing lack of progress in their contract negotiations.
They're using their right to basically let it be known that they're tired of not being paid, not being valued.
Treat your workers like you should. Baristas across the country began striking earlier this year, calling for higher wages and more staffing.
Without the baristas, there is simply no coffee. It's common to skip breaks. It's common to not respect time off. I've realized that nobody else is going to fight for these things, so I have to do it.
Starbucks says it's ready to reach an agreement and is calling on the union representing its workers to return to the table. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Now, Amazon says it doesn't expect strikes to impact holiday shipments. Organizers at Starbucks say their strikes will begin escalating every day until Christmas Eve unless an agreement is reached. Stay with us. We're back with a final check of your First Warn forecast after a short break. empty. One neighborhood is lighting up the holidays in a big way. This is in the Brightmoor neighborhood in Detroit, where artists have crafted 14 massive nutcracker sculptures, each standing 12 feet tall and made of recycled materials. Artists poured weeks of effort into these creations, bringing unique designs and personal stories to life. One artist calls it beautiful endurance, a reflection of overcoming imperfections. And one sculpture will win a cash prize.
Those are really cool. Oh, I like the penguin.
I see there's still grass visible there in Detroit, at least when that was shot. I don't know what kind of snow they got, but hopefully it's behind us now.
Yes. For folks who are snow lovers, I do have some sad news. I don't think we're going to see any major snow up until really over the next 10 days.
But this might stick around, right, with these temperatures?
This might, yes. So maybe we get the white Christmas that a lot of us maybe wanted, but there is a pretty decent warm in the full forecast. So tonight we are set to cool off into those single digits, maybe the low teens. Wind chill values anywhere between maybe a few degrees below zero to about 5 degrees. So it is going to be a chillier night. We can thank the clear skies and the fresh snow, along with some light northerly winds for the cold tonight and the cold tomorrow. Partly sunny to mostly cloudy, maybe a few flurries here and there. Winds are going to be light, and again, that snow is going to be helping keeping us cooler for your Saturday, but starting Sunday, really through the next 10 days, southerly winds take on over. Now, we do get a light rain snow mix on Monday. A little system moves on through here, but I think more of the accumulating snow is going to be to our north. That could change, so stay with News 3 Now. We'll keep you updated. Quiet, though, Tuesday, Christmas Eve, and Christmas, so any traveling to any houses or bringing folks in should be fine. Rain snow mix starting later Wednesday night. We're in the 40s with rain chances starting Thursday through that following Monday.
All right, Blaze, thank you. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News.